Today is May 3rd of 2025. It's a little after 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Jay Essen, and just to confirm, I do have visibility on my game screen this week, so we're not going to have a repeat where I didn't have video playing. Let's just go ahead and test to verify that the audio is coming through, so just one moment while I mute this and check to confirm this is going through correctly, so I'll be right back, just a moment. Okay, I can't tell if that was actually working or not. All right, good news. That was successful. Thanks so much for your patience. So, this week we have a big one. This is The Little Match Girl 4 Crown of Pearls. In The Little Match Girl 4 by Hans Christian Andersen, a prince has been born, and the titular Little Match Girl must assemble the subtitular Crown of Pearls. This game was an entry in IFComp 2023. It got third place, out of like 70 games. It takes about 2 hours to play. So we're going to go ahead and get into it real quick here. I do want to confirm this is a game I have played through in its entirety in the past. It was, for a while, my favorite Little Match Girl game. I still think very highly of it, and I'm excited to revisit it after having played so many of the previous games. Even though we have played Little Match Girl games recently, I'm going to go ahead and start with the recap. On New Year's Eve, 1845, a nameless little girl was forced by her cruel father to sell matches in the icy streets of Copenhagen. On the verge of freezing to death, the girl manifested an ability to travel through time and space whenever she looked at fire. The discovery led to her adoption that very night by the renowned philanthropist Ebenezer Scrooge, who christened his new daughter Ebenezabeth. In the years since, Ebenezabeth has endeavored to use her powers for good. Although she abhors violence, the reputation she has earned across the centuries is that of a time-traveling bounty hunter and vampire slayer. The mistakes she has made and the lives she has taken in the pursuit of justice weigh heavily on her conscience. It is now December of 1848. Our hero is 19 years old. Her latest client is none other than Her Majesty Queen Victoria. What exactly does the crown require of Ebenezabeth Scrooge? Is the little match girl up to the task? We soon shall see. So let us start a new game. Ah, leave me not to pine, alone and desolate. No fate seemed fair as mine, no happiness so great. And nature day by day has sung in accents clear this joyous roundelay. He loves thee, he is here. Fa la la la, fa la la la. Ah, must I leave thee here in endless night to dream, where joy is dark and drear and sorrow all supreme, where nature day by day will sing in altered tone this weary roundelay, he loves thee, he is gone. Fa la la la, fa la la la. Hans Christian Andersen, in association with Inform 7 version 10.1.2, D, and Vorpal version 4.0.1, and Ryan Veeder presents The Little Match Girl 4, Crown of Pearls. Beach. Cold rain pelts your cheeks and tangles your flaxen curls. The sand underfoot is coarse and dirty. The cove is hemmed in by tall, jagged rocks, obscuring your view of the sea. To the north, a crooked path leads inland. Examine me. You carry a revolver. Your flaxen curls hang loosely around your shoulders. Your name is Ebenezabeth Scrooge. Inventory. You are carrying a charcoal sketch, your revolver. Examine sketch. A drawing of a lighthouse smudged somewhat by rain. Below is a note in pencil. M has no desire to avoid a war. Be careful. You are led to understand that this lighthouse is where you need to go. Let's examine the sand. This would not be a good beach for stretching out and relaxing on, even if the weather were right. A little crab is scuttling from puddle to puddle. Examine the crab. The creature is enjoying the rain considerably more than you are. It seems overjoyed at having so many puddles to investigate. See these rocks. The rocks form a tiny cove here, hidden from the rest of the world. You can see how this would be a cozy, relaxing hideaway under different circumstances. We didn't examine our revolver. Let's do that. On one side of your revolver are engraved the words, "For my friend Ebenezabeth, Samuel Colt." On the other, a gold rose is inlaid, next to the inscription, Pius, PP 9. Let's examine the path. The path curls between the rocks so that you can't see what's ahead, but anyone over there can't see you either. Very well. Before we go north, let's see if the little match girl is in a mood to sing. Love will abide, take things in stride. No time. Very well, then we should first type about. Thank you for your interest in Hans Christian Andersen's The Little Match Girl 4, Crown of Pearls. It was tested by Sarah Wilson, Zach Hodgins, Emily Bogheim, Jason Love, and Stephen Norris. Selections from the public domain written by W.S. Gilbert or composed by Felix Mendelssohn are used without permission. Development of The Little Match Girl 4, Crown of Pearls was made possible by the generous support of Deep Breath, Jacques Frichet, Sammy El Barawi, Jessica Seidel, Alan Tan, Stephen Norris, Benjamin Slade, Matthew Zimmerman, Magnus Buchanan, Sarah, Russ Wang, Sarah Wilson, Robin Johnson, Robert Palutzian, Rich Chang, Janelle Marie, Nils Fagerberg, Derek Sotak, Michael Ziegler, Michael Knowles, Matt Schneider, Mark, Jenny Plodna, Domenia, Kenneth Hahn, Carl Ove Hooftamer, Jeremy Wright, Julia Ramsey, Deep Breath Again, Joshua Grams, Jordan Ish, John Lean, Jason Farrell, Jason Love, Ivan R., Yerrick, Harrison Gerard, Greg Frost, Grant Veeder, Emily Short, Janice M. Eisen, Robert Eggleston, Doug Orleans, Q Fever, Carolyn Van Esseltine, and Carl Muckenhaupt. If you'd like to support my work like these fine people, or if you'd like to play the next Little Match Girl game before everyone else, please check out patreon.com/rcveeder. Also, please let me know what you thought about this game via email, rcveeder@me.com. And if I have mispronounced the name of any of these patrons, they should feel free to leave a comment or contact me to notify me of the correct pronunciation so that I can fix that in future videos. Now, I think it's time to go north. To the cave mouth. Cliffs of red stone hang overhead, at the wrong angle to protect you from the rain. In the rock face to the east is a narrow cleft, deep and dark. A painted sign and covered lantern are mounted over the cave entrance. The sandy path leads south and west. Let's examine the cliff. The rock here is a drab, rusty color. The cliffs are tall and steep, and slippery. Okay, let me examine the cleft. Examine the cleft. The gloomy light out here does not reach far into the cave. We should examine the sign then. The letters are ornately scribed and difficult to make out. They read, "Beware! Beachgoers are advised that they approach the lair of pirates, and that by venturing further trespass on this shadowy enclave, they court remorseless execution." You may never have noticed the cave if it weren't for this sign and the light of the nearby lantern. I think the lantern will cause us to move, so before we examine that, let's go ahead and go west first. To Muddy Trail. A stone marker stands at the crossroads. To the west is a sleepy village. To the east and south, the trail turns into sand, winding between treacherous rocks. Let's examine this marker. The marker was cut into a square pillar with a rounded top. Any other detail has been worn away. A snail is creeping up one side. These animals are of note. Let's make a record of them where possible. Let's see here. We've got crab, on beach, snail on sign. If we came to the south, and then north, and then west, I feel like we are exploring this area in a clockwise route. Let's examine the snail first. The creature is slowly carrying its shell to the top of the stone. And now let's go to the south again, to shipwreck. A great wooden ship lies in pieces across the beach. Looking out toward the ocean, you see planks caught on rocks and sandbars. And even farther out is a lighthouse, its beam sweeping over the beach, the sea, the stormy sky. We examine the ship. A few parts of the ship reached the beach more or less intact. You can make out certain lines, certain curves. Most of it is broken beyond recognition, though. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that examining the lighthouse is going to allow us to move from this area, and though I do generally try to explore an area in its entirety before moving on to another zone through transportation via flame, this time I'm going to go ahead and allow us to be taken away because I have knowledge that this is just an isolated little area that we can quickly clear out and then return. So we examine the lighthouse. The beam has just passed. You'll have to wait. Here it comes. You look up into the lighthouse's flaring beam, and it whisks you out of this world. The fairy realm. Nursery. A grassy hilltop emerging from bluish mist. A lantern hangs over the cradle where the prince sleeps soundly, attended by a midwife and a lady-in-waiting. The older fairy greets you with a cold smile. The orphan wench arrives with crimsoned eyne and arquebus in hand as fits a maid. How goes your errand, little mortal girl? Has wanton chase uncovered any pearl? I'm making progress, you tell her, and the corners of her mouth twitch. Good evening to you, Lady Mab, and to you too, Iota. It is very nice to see you again. The younger fairy gives you a friendlier smile, but says nothing. Let's examine Mab. Mab's hair is white. Her eyes are slate gray. Though she wears a glamour of youth and loveliness, she finds ways to remind you of her age. And we examine Iota. Iota wears violets in her hair, a chain of daisies around her neck. You get the sense that not much conversation has passed between her and Mab since you were here last. I can't imagine much is to be gained by this, but let's talk to Mab. Mab leans over the crib, jutting her chin out at you. Titania approves an earthborn waif to gather for her scion Marguerites, just as the Duke lets loose a truffling swine to rake the loam with hoof and pointed snout, and bids the sow not swallow that she finds. At moonrise will the fairy queen arrive, and count what pearls the little girl presents. Yet in this cradle I can count no pearls, or else can count them without drawing breath. When will you bring them, Ebenezabeth? You meet her gaze. Before moonrise. We try talking to Iota. Iota is clearly relieved to see you. Where have you been traveling this evening, Ebenezabeth? I was just in Cornwall, you tell her, on the beach. Oh, it sounds beautiful. Rainy, you tell her. Ah, she nods. And let us examine the prince. The heir to the fairy throne is only half asleep. He stirs as you lean over him, opens an eye to inspect his visitor. Then he closes it again. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm just rearranging my video in Windows in a manner to try and make sure I don't notice that I've accidentally muted or something like that. I am a little paranoid about causing additional audio-visual issues after the last time that we recorded. Let's go ahead and look once more. We should examine the hilltop while we're here. The Fairy Queen's nursery is this small patch of grass. And if we examine the lantern... The fire in the lantern is fretful and indistinct, but it knows what you need, where you need to be. Penzance, 1876. Shipwreck. A great wooden ship lies in pieces across the beach. Looking out toward the ocean, you see planks caught on rocks and sandbars, and even farther out is a lighthouse, its beam sweeping over the beach, the sea, the stormy sky. The trail leads north. So here we have something rather like what we had during the errand for the Pope, where looking at a flame transports us specifically to one other destination, and we can look at a flame in that other destination to reverse this process. So we don't need to worry about waking up specifically to return to an earlier area. We simply look at fire, and the fire functions as though it were another kind of door. So let's go ahead and go north, back to the muddy trail, and this time west to the town square. The road from the east opens up here in the middle of the village. The town is quiet. The street lamps are unlit. The doorway to one home hangs open to the weather on the north side of the square. We examine the street lamps. The lamps ought to be lit at this hour for the villagers' safety, and you might need them more than anyone. So if we examine the home, the house is dark but not uninhabited. So let's go into it. House. It's cold in here. A portrait of the Queen hangs by the window. A sleeping man is sprawled out on the couch. On the floor beneath him is a lamplighter's pole. We examine the pole, a long pole for lighting lamps, too long to stand up on its end when the ceiling is this low. We should examine the portrait while we're here. Her Majesty has aged considerably since you last saw her. Can this be the same woman? Yes, those penetrating blue eyes could only be hers. Let's examine the man. The man has messy orange hair and a scraggly orange beard. He is a tall man, too. Some have greatness thrust upon them. We try to wake the man. You nudge the man gently. Nothing happens. So you shake him harder, and he stirs. Eh? Eh? Who's there? We talk to the man. Are you the lamplighter, sir? You ask. Ostensibly, he says, smacking his dry lips. And you are the little girl who wakes the lamplighter, I suppose? Certainly, you tell him. If I may ask, why are the lamps not lit tonight? Because all we citizens of Penzance guard our lives too jealously to be caught outside our houses. There are pirates on the prowl, miss. Men of ferocious character, not to be trifled with. Was it their ship that I saw wrecked on the shore nearby? Indeed, the pirates are confined to dry land, and all the more to be dreaded, as their opportunities for plunder are limited to nearby villages. You look into his eyes. But surely there is greater danger in the village left unilluminated. If the man forced by circumstance to leave his home must walk through dark streets, not knowing if pirates or worse are lurking before him or behind, is it not your duty, sir, to light the lamps? Your duty to your place of residence? Your duty to your country? He glances toward the window. He breathes through his teeth. I find myself convinced, he says at last. Where is my lamplighter's pole? Right here, sir, you say. You raise it to his hands, and he marches outside, leaving the couch unoccupied. Let's examine the couch. With a couch like this in the home, a proper bed is no necessity. Can we sit on the couch? You lie down on the couch. You take a moment. We stand. You get up. That's enough of that. We dance? You are not inclined. We look. Just the portrait of the Queen. It's cold in here. We go out to the town square. Same description as before, except the doorway to one home hangs open to the weather on the north side of the square. Apparently, the rain has shocked the lamplighter into full wakefulness. He is rushing from post to post, lighting the next lamp before the last has come into its full flower. And now the street is filled with warm light, and the man is giving you a final nod as he carries his pole back into his house. We examine a lamp. You look up into one of the lamps. Its flame flickers in time with her sister's. All the fires spin around you and carry you away. Montana, 67 million BC. River of lava. The lava flow turns sharply here, so there's nowhere to go but north or west. On the far side of the river, a tree has caught fire. So, This is clearly a destination we'll have to do some exploration, but first let's examine the tree and get back to where we were. The shape of the tree is strangely familiar. This same sort of tree will still be growing in the distant future, far away. Now the fire's reading your thoughts, singing along. Distant future, far away. Penzance, 1876. Let's go back to the east to the muddy trail. And we go east once more to the cave mouth. Once again, cliffs of red stone, a painted sign-covered lantern of the more contemporary spelling. Let's examine this lantern, since we didn't before. A candle flickers in a rough iron cage. The wind and rain should have snuffed it out, but it's gone on burning, waiting for you. You focus on the fire, and it carries you to Pilcrow, Arizona, 1922. Train station. The station consists of a single platform with a single bench. The tracks go east and west across the dusty plain, and the town's main drag seems to be north from here. Someone set up a tent and a cook fire next to the platform. So if we examine the cook fire, the fire is weak. He's been waiting for you a long time, but now you're here. And now you're in Penzance, 1876. Once again at the cave mouth. Once again we go in to darkness. It is pitch dark and you can't see a thing. So we go back out. Let's instead take lantern. You can't do much more than look from down here. Before we do that, let's go back to the west and let's examine these lanterns, the street lamps in the town square. Let's explore the past before we go to the present or the future. So we examine the lamp. You gaze back up at the lamps and they carry you off again. Back to Montana, 67 million BC. River of lava. The lava flow turns sharply here, so there's nowhere to go but north or west. Let's examine the lava. The river is maybe 20 feet wide, glowing orange and yellow beneath streaks of black. The source of the flow is somewhere north of here. So if we go north, it brings us to a lava tube. A trail running north to south passes through a tunnel of solidified lava, where jagged spires rise from the floor and cavities like huge bubbles fill the walls. Outside one such bubble stands a ravenous Dakotaraptor, snapping and hissing at a repton trapped inside. We examine the raptor. A creature like a monstrous bird, with massive claws on its hands and feet, and a long tongue slavering over its dozens of pointed teeth. It sees you coming and hisses furiously. It instinctively views you as competition, not as prey. It wants to eat the repton before you do. We can try to talk to the raptor, but this will surely not succeed. You don't speak any language the Dakotaraptor would understand. Can we shout at the raptor? Can we shout? That almost never helps. Let's try shooting the revolver. You must specify what you are shooting the revolver at. Let's shoot the lava. You don't want to damage the lava tube. Fair enough. Shoot sky. Can't see that. Shoot at raptor. You take careful aim. The raptor turns toward you, looks you in the eye. The sound of thunder echoes through the tunnel as the bullet screams past the monster's ear. The Dakotaraptor squeals furiously and runs away. The repton emerges from his hidey hole, mopping his scaly brow. When he gets a good look at his rescuer, his eyes widen in surprise. You are Scrooge, the mammal girl! So, could this have been someone we knew during our time strategizing how the battle at the Grey Peaks should play out? You nod. Yes, sir. What is your name? I am Brish, the Gene Shaman. My ancestors fought by your side in the Battle of the Grey Peaks. It is an honor to meet you, mammal girl. Thank you for saving my life. You make a tiny curtsy. It is an honor to meet you too, Gene Shaman. He shrugs. Of that I am not so sure. Things have changed since you last visited the Reptons. Our old ways have fallen out of favor. The office of Gene Shaman is nothing to aspire to any longer. So this is a game that predated the Battle of the Grey Peaks. This was entered in the interactive fiction competition in 2023, and the Battle of Grey Peaks was a game that was released in spring of 2024. So this is a little bit of a case where the oh, my cat's laying on my mouse. The game was alluded to. The events were suggested and were only detailed in a subsequent game set prior to this one, which is kind of fun when timing like this gets to work out that way. I enjoy non-linear storytelling. We talk to the Brish. I never had a chance to meet a gene shaman when I was here before, you say, which is not strictly true, but that's the sort of temporal quirk that can happen when the storytelling plays out like this. I'm sure there's much I can learn from you. Perhaps, he says with a smile. I do know one trick you might like. If I could just... He reaches out with a scaled claw and plucks a single strand of flaxen hair from your head. The stories tell us that the mammal girl bore a chemical affinity to exothermic oxidation, he says, studying your hair with huge, dark eyes. But each of us has a genetic affinity as well, a connection to a fellow species written in the deepness of our cells. For a little girl of your abilities, accessing this connection should be easy. If I can... He snaps his fingers. I see it. A creature not known to this world, but one I am sure you know very well. Then he presses his palms against your temples. I call you, sister of the mammal girl. Awaken and add your powers to hers. You feel something light up inside you, something that was always there. Yes, Scrooge, you are ready. Brish lets go of your head. You can transform right now, if you will it. Very well. Let us transform. You take a deep breath. Molecules coil and uncoil, dancing, shifting, tensing, releasing. You feel very ticklish for a moment, and then it's done. Beautifully done, cries the gene shaman. He's suddenly much, much taller than you. What do you call this form? You can only squeak in response. Examine me. You are a little mouse, with a slender tail and fur the color of straw. We transform again. You take another deep breath. You feel stretched out, expanded, huge. But when it's over, you're only a little girl again. Brish is very pleased. You must tell me what that was. A mouse, you tell him. Marvelous. I'm so glad we met, Scrooge. He can't stop smiling. Let's talk to Brish once more. Will you stay here, Brish? For a while, yes. I need to recover my strength before I travel any further. He smiles. Don't worry about me, Scrooge. I can take care of myself. We should examine him. Brish seems much calmer now. He's absent-mindedly running his claws down the beads of his rosary. Click, click, click. If we look, we can continue to the further north. Let's examine a bubble. Pockets of gas, or something, made the lava harden into various compartments along the main tunnel. Let's go further north. To the mountainside. The slope of a volcano rises to the north, and lava oozes over the landscape like an encroaching tide. There's a clear path along one lava flow to the east, and to the south the ground is mostly solid. Gonna make a little bit of noise here as I rearrange things, because I just realized I need to pull up a reference that I will see here. A search. Okay. Yes, perfect. I've got it. Okay, so this is not something I need to refer to yet, but it's something I will be putting on screen at a later point when we get to it. let's continue examining the mountainside. So, the slope of a volcano rises to the north, and lava oozes over the landscape like an encroaching tide. There's a clear path along one lava flow to the east, and to the south the ground is mostly solid. To the west is a field of dry grass, being consumed before your eyes by a widening ribbon of fire. So here's another thing we're going to examine and then come right back. If we examine the grass, the field is vanishing, but only temporarily. Seeds carried on the smoke will fly far away and grow into new fields. The fire is carrying you away, too, far away. To the Austrian Alps, 1999. Lounge. The mahogany panels line the walls. A lush purple carpet is beneath your feet. Several overstuffed couches are ready to receive any weary travelers who happen to pass through. The door to the west is half open. In the passage to the south, a stone staircase descends to some lower level. A lively fire is burning in the hearth. Let's examine that fire and go right back where we just came from. The fire is warm. Outside these walls, the night is dark and cold. Outside this time frame is the darkness between spaces. But then you go back inside. Once again to Montana, to 67 million BC, right where we were before. Let's examine the volcano. The mountain is filling with the cloudy sky with smoke, covering the land with rivers of lava. It isn't slowing down. Let me get the mouse out of the way, since my cat's finally moved. And let's go east, to the pool of lava. Lava from the west is collecting here, in a slowly widening pond of liquid rock. At its edge, a bush has caught fire. There's enough exposed stone next to the flowing lava for you to follow it to its source. A reptile with a long, skinny snout is resting a safe distance from the lava, staring at you disinterestedly. Here's another animal. A reptile by lava pool. We'll examine the reptile. It's some sort of crocodile with a comically elongated face. It doesn't have a very comical disposition, though. We might be able to already interact with it. We talk to the reptile. You don't speak any language the Champsosaurus would understand. We transform. Talk to Champsosaurus. Hello, you say. The reptile only glares back in response. So, we don't speak a language the Champsosaurus would understand when we're a human, but when we're a mouse, we speak languages animals understand. So that is one of the powers of being a mouse. We transform back for now, though. What else is here? Let's examine the pool. The depression must have been a pool of water at some point, but there's no water here now. Let's go ahead and examine that bush and see where it takes us. The bush is burning slowly, very slowly. It will be consumed eventually, but it's holding out for you. Back to Pilcrow, Arizona, 1922. This time we're in a church. The floor is covered in yellow dust, and a few sets of footprints meander between the pews. A candle is burning on the altar, next to an open Bible. We examine the candle and go right back. There is not much left of this candle, but there's still enough for a fire, still enough to carry you away. Back to the pool where we were before. Can we go anywhere else from here? I think we might be... Yeah, we're at a dead end. So we can go back to the west. And from here to the south. Further south to the river of lava. And now to the west, to the forest. Cedars and cycads tower over you, hemmed in by giant ferns and nameless flowers. The air is damp and heavy with strange scents. An ankylosaur is eyeing you suspiciously. There's a path of sorts here, coming from the east. It should continue south, but there's a wall of brambles in the way. So there is an ankylosaur in forest. Let's examine him or her. The creature's small eyes and stubby face lend it a perpetually flummoxed expression. We transform and talk to it. Careful down there, says the ankylosaur. I wouldn't want to squish you. You are very kind, you say. Transform once more. And let's examine the cedars. You gaze up into the trees. The first time you saw a forest like this, you couldn't believe how huge it was. But you've since grown inured to the various immensities of this universe. We examine the flowers. The huge, colorful blossoms should be beautiful, but they seem strangely sinister, and their size is unnatural. We smell. The odors you do recognize are entirely out of place. Let's examine the brambles. A tall, thorny bush has grown across the path. We can't see any way around these brambles, so if we transform and now go south, you make a stab at scurrying through the brambles, but the thorns scratch painfully against your paws and fur, and you have to retreat. Alright, so it seems like we've explored the extent that we can here, so we transform once more, and now I believe we need to go... Let's go to the east, to the north, once more to the north, to the mountainside, because this field of dry grass is our next destination in sequence. Examine the fire here. Back to the Austrian Alps in 1999. So this was Penzance. This was Montana. Now we're in Austria. Lounge. Mahogany panels line the walls. A lush purple carpet is beneath your feet. Several overstuffed couches are ready to receive any weary travelers who happen to pass through. Let's examine these panels. The wood makes the room seem darker than it really is. A window in the east wall looks out on a sky full of stars. Examine the window. The Milky Way is shimmering in 100 colors. The landscape below is dark. Couches. Couches all look equally inviting. Let's sit on a couch. You spread out on a likely-looking divan. Man, that hits the spot. We stand. Let's see. Door to the west is half open. A passage in the south descends further downward. Let's go examine the door. The door is slightly ajar. We go west. You approach the door. Just as a voice booms from the other side. Greetings, brethren. Your patience is appreciated. Let us begin. You step back. It's the voice of Ate. It gives me great pleasure to inform you that the hunter, Ebenezabeth Scrooge, has been apprehended. We have her in suspended animation upstairs. A gaggle of voices responds in murmurs and exclamations. Then suddenly goes silent. This presents something of a puzzle. You can imagine the fiendish smile spreading across Ate's face. Poseidon has vowed he will wreak immortal vengeance on us if we harm his champion. It would seem, then, that simply snapping the little girl's neck is off the table. What can be done? How can the vampire community best exploit this golden opportunity? No response. To be clear, you hear her say, I am opening the floor for suggestions. The room beyond breaks into hurried and unintelligible murmuring. Let's use this break in the action to transform. We take a deep breath, ticklish feeling ripples over us briefly, and now we've changed. And now let's go west, now that we have transformed. You scurry through the open door. Great hall. Rows of folding tables run the length of the hall. In each seat is a vampire, muttering to their neighbor, or shouting to be heard above the others, or craning their neck to hear someone in the next row. On the stage at the front of the room, Ate leans on her podium, grinning viciously upon the chaos she commands. The way back to the lounge is east. A cold breeze runs down a flight of stairs to the west. A vampire stands. Ate shushes the room to attention. I am Howl of the Scognathi clan, he begins. I recommend we hold the hunter for ransom. Her family is very rich, as we all know. A ransom, Ate's enthusiasm is unconvincing. Yes, the little girl would fetch a very high price. By the way, I just bought this entire castle so that we could have this meeting in it. I now own 7 castles. Are there any other suggestions? Laughter fills the hall, and Howl sits down. So, this part is amazing. I love this. This is a big part of the reason why this game made such a strong first impression on me and why I'm still very fond of it. I just think it's awesome to be in this situation where we get to spy on this meeting that our adversaries are having about us. It's such a cool dynamic. It really tickles me. So let's examine Ate while we're here. The train of her dress slithers across the stage. The points of her fingernails click insistently against the lectern. The Queen of Vampires is right there, and of course you can't do anything about it. Another vampire stands up. I am Father Acton. I speak for the Grey Wolf tenement. We should seal Ebenezer Scrooge in a lead casket and shoot her into space. The hall goes quiet. Would Poseidon be able to interpret that as harming her? Someone asks. People murmur. Maybe. Probably. If we try to examine the vampires, we can't do that. Let's try examining Howl. The room is crowded, and it's hard to get a good look at anybody sitting at the tables when you're creeping around underneath. You all know me, says the next vampire. Then, helpfully, she adds, I'm Guillotine, representing Chillblade clan, the biggest clan on the West Coast, expanding into Salt Lake City. Ate clears her throat loudly. Guillotine starts talking faster. I think we should cut a deal with Poseidon. Give him his champion back. Get on his good side. Maybe later he does us a favor. The person sitting next to Guillotine pulls her back into her chair. I didn't really intend for her name to be pronounced the same way as guillotine, the instrument for cutting heads off, but I just feel like the way that word is spelled seems like it could be the same pronunciation. I just think it's neat. Let's take another look at the room. Folding tables, right, that were underneath. Ate on a podium. Way back to the lounge to the east, cold breeze runs down a flight of stairs to the west. Okay. The Russian Fangs present a suggestion. The woman talking seems distantly familiar. Make a gift of Ebenezer Scrooge to the werewolf clans. They are not so clever. They will destroy the girl and bring the grudge of Poseidon upon themselves. Thank you for your suggestion, Sveta. We actually have a representative from the werewolf clans here. Ate waves at the back of the room. Orek, what do you think of Svetlana's suggestion? Something you can't see growls darkly. We listen. You don't hear anything interesting. I'm Costigan. I represent Grimwald. I just wanted to say I support Father Acton's idea about shooting her into space. And why is that? I just think it's a good idea. Okay. Noted. We smell. It would be impolite to smell. The Thrill of Whispers requests permission to speak. Ate rolls her eyes. Yes. Force a traitor vampire, already sentenced to death, to destroy the hunter. His method of execution shall be Poseidon's wrath. Ate looks around the room. Do we have any traitor vampires handy? Nobody can think of anybody. We had... What else did we have? Tables, the seats, podium. Let's examine the podium. The wooden lectern looks quite a bit older than the tables and chairs. So, do we just keep Scrooge in a coma until one of us does something that merits the death penalty, and then hope that Poseidon does exactly what we want him to? It sounds really complicated, someone says. The representative from the Thrill of Whispers spins around to face his critic. Being complicated doesn't make it a bad idea. It's just fair enough. Examine the chairs. There are hundreds of battered old folding chairs in here. That means there are hundreds of vampires. Hi, I'm Kathleen from the Seattle Sorority of Lesbian Vampires, one of those other clans on the West Coast, and I would like to suggest modifying Father Acton's idea a little bit. Instead of shooting her into space, we could drop the lead casket into the ocean. Ate lets the room chew on this for a moment before asking, "You mean where Poseidon lives?" "I mean underground, a mine shaft." But Kathleen's protests are drowned out by laughter. Okay. Let's examine the tables themselves. The tables are covered with fine black tablecloths, but from down here they still look pretty cheap. "We, the clan of the Midnight Diamond, request that Ebenezer Scrooge be remanded into our custody." The vampire saying this is unspeakably decrepit. He must be 1,000 years old. "We will make a trophy of her in our clan house. No harm shall come to her. She shall be a work of art, a living sculpture in eternal sleep as we go on in eternal unlife." Ate rubs her forehead. "You don't get to take her home, Kadak. Sit down." There were stairs to the west, I think. Like, we could arguably keep exploring and probably come back and continue hearing parts of this, but I know that despite the fact that Ryan has in the past expressed some frustration with people being unwilling to allow fun background elements like this to just playing out in their entirety while they go about their gaming, it's kind of defeats the purpose if you just sit there and listen to them all one right after the other. But I just, for this scene especially, I think I'm just going to do that. So I'm Adam from Grimvault, and I think we already heard from Grimvault. No, I'm from Grimvault. Oh, sorry about that. Ate holds her up her hands graciously. "Please, let us hear your suggestion." "Well, I think Father Acton's idea was really..." Everyone groans, and the speaker gives up. We wait again. A gentleman with a pointed beard rises. "Mi estas Antono di Frateco di Vampirage Esperantistoj?" Ate stares at the man, half smiling. He puffs out his chest and continues. "Mi credas que ni devus maliberigai la knabineton en malfacila sed nelatela labyrinto?" Ate doesn't respond. She goes on staring until Antono sits down. Obviously, I do not speak any Esperanto or know how it is to be pronounced, but that was fun enough. We wait again. The woman who stands up next is almost transparent. Her voice seems very far away. "We are Hyacinthine of the sign of the wilted rose. Allow us to bestow the dark gift on Ebenezabeth." This suggestion gets booed mercilessly, and the lady apparently dematerializes out of embarrassment. We wait again. A diminutive vampire jumps onto his table. "Recognize Lojack of the Worshippers of Chaos." Ate nods patiently. The chair recognizes Lojack of the Worshippers of Chaos. Lojack leaps from table to table, kicking over drinks and cackling idiotically. The other vampires endure his demonstration stoically. Eventually, he returns to his seat. So, we got to experience the Worshippers of Chaos last week a little bit when we were playing through the game, the Enigmarch game about the vampire becoming the part of the Board of Regents of Kansas City. Pretty sure that was the Worshippers of Chaos. Let's wait again and see who else takes the stand. If I may make a suggestion, you can't see whoever's talking. I'm XPurityX, representing alt.lifestyle.vampirism. We don't believe in any so-called gods, Poseidon included, and we think this whole little discussion is, to be frank, asinine. "Great," says Ate. "So are you..." Ate shakes her head. No, we're moving on to the next one." As will we. We wait. "That gives me an idea," someone says. Who is speaking? Hi, sorry, I'm Peter Grazer of the Necrotrons, and just hear me out. What if we kill Ebenezabeth, but we kill Poseidon first? Ate throws up her hands, and the assembly descends into anarchy. So now that we've heard from all of the distinct vampires, someone speaking for the Sunblinder clan disappears in a puff of smoke. A vampire from the Rat Munchers is demanding the floor. A vampire speaking on behalf of the Transpolar Chiropteran Society pounds the table. A visitor from Sigma Theta Nu says something snide. Someone from the Red Dirt Blood makes a suggestion that quickly gets shot down. We just have ensuing chaos. Yeah, I just love this whole scene. It's fantastic. Let's go ahead and go to the west now. We go west, to the bedchamber. A canopied bed fit for a princess seems to take up most of the room. On either side of the bed is a chair. In the chair to your left is a vampire you know. He goes by the name Anubis Darkness. The bald vampire in the chair to your right is one you've never seen before. The room connects two stairways, one on the east side leading down, one on the south side leading up. Anubis looks down as you enter. Hey, a mouse! Leave it alone, his partner says flatly. What are you chiding me for? I didn't say, hey, a mouse, let's kill it for no reason. I didn't say, hey, a mouse, let's make little clothes for it and have it dance around. I'm just noticing a stupid mouse. The bald vampire doesn't respond. We examine Anubis. Goatee, raven skull necklace, and red lenses in his Ray-Bans. Mr. Darkness was a self-appointed big deal in the Seattle area until you slayed him in 2004. I'm just bored, okay? I'm noticing things because I'm bored. Anubis taps his foot demonstratively. A mouse is kind of interesting. It's worth pointing out. No response. Can I go under the bed? You scamper, quietly, under the bed. Bedchamber, under the canopied bed. You're not alone down here. A little black beetle is shuffling among the dust bunnies. Between the bed frame and the wall, a tassel hangs from the canopy, almost touching the floor. Anubis goes on, tapping his foot. Would you stop that? The other vampire grunts. Stop what? You want me to come over there and break your nose? Anubis stops, tapping his foot. We can't see the bald vampire from underneath the bed. I go out to the bedchamber. So, back to the same description we had before. You know what, Saberi? Anubis asks. What? I think, and I hope you don't take this personally, but I think you and I don't make a very good team. Saberi takes a deep breath. Let's examine him now. His head is shaved, but his shirt is half unbuttoned to reveal a distasteful excess of chest hair. His irises are completely black, which reminds you of Ra Lesapo, but it could mean anything. Anubis goes on. Because I feel like if it were me and, just for example, Guillotine in here, guarding Scrooge's comatose body, we wouldn't be so bored. We'd find some kind of way to pass the time. Her and me, we have an established rapport. I don't want to question Ate's judgment, exactly, but I'm not sure why she put you and I up here together. Ate put you up here because she can't stand you, Saberi explains, and she stuck me up here because she doesn't trust you. Anubis makes a small coughing sound. Examine the bed. The canopy over the bed makes it difficult to see who's in there. Though the sheets come down almost to the floor, there's still a mouse-sized opening to the space underneath. Okay, now we go under the bed. You're not alone down here, little black beetle. Examine the beetle. It looks positively desperate for something to occupy its time. Well, let's talk to the beetle then. The beetle sniffs you suspiciously. Who are you? Just a little mouse, wandering about the castle, you say. You smell like the girl on top of the bed, says the beetle. You don't say. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. There's a tassel here. Apparently not. Oh, right, because I misspelled it. Examine the tassel. One of the tassels hanging from the canopy has been tucked behind the bed. We climb the tassel. You climb up the tassel until you are on top of the canopy. Bedchamber, on the canopy. It feels like you're higher up than you really are. Looking down through the gauzy fabric, you can see the bed's occupant, a young woman with flaxen hair. I'm going to examine Elizabeth. Her eyes are closed. Her hands are folded over her breast. She's breathing very slowly. You recognize your own features, drawn out slightly by a few extra years. She's not nearly as old as you were expecting. Light ripples oddly across her face. The spell that's keeping her asleep isn't one you're familiar with. Well, you have other things to worry about at the moment. What if we were to try transforming now, I wonder? That might not be such a good idea. Yeah, fair enough. We go down. We make a note of the beetle in Austria. Beetle under bed. And let's go out. And let's go west now to go further up. Oh, no, excuse me. South side goes up. We go south to the tower. Frigid wind ruffles your fur. The wall has crumbled here and exposed this chamber to the sky. What remains of the tower appears to have been an unfinished storage space. The walls are bare stone, covered in thick frost. In the middle of the floor is a block of nearly transparent ice. Beneath you are the walls of the castle, the mountain, a snowy valley, and the Alps, fading into the starry distance. Let's examine the ice. Something is frozen inside the block of ice. Something the color of bone. Examine the walls. You can see the shape of the room as it once was, a circular attic-like space. We examine the sky. It seems like the stars are different wherever you go. Are there any old friends up there? No, not tonight. But now you notice the shape of an owl circling slowly over you. We talk to the owl. The owl descends, turning in smaller and smaller circles over you. Hello, little mouse. Are you out here all by yourself? Yes, you say, but I'm actually a 19-year-old human woman with a gun. I see, says the owl. Well, have a nice night. Let's go ahead and transform so that the owl doesn't get any ideas. You take another deep breath. You feel stretched out, expanded, huge. Can we search the ice? No, we cannot. We feel the wind. The wind is brutal. It would be wise to go back inside before you freeze to death. Fair enough. We'll go ahead and transform once more and go back to the north. And go back to the east. On our way through the Great Hall. A visitor from the Sunblinder clan earns a withering look from Ate. We go east again, back to the lounge where we started. And now we're finally going to go to the south. To the dungeon. Cells with rusty iron bars line the narrow hallway. The air is clammy, and dark puddles have formed in the corners. Mounted on the wall is an interpretive placard. Go ahead and transform. Examine that placard. The dungeon is merely decorative, the placard explains. No torture or pagan rituals have ever taken place at Schloss Tuxenstein. Oh, really? Oh, fair enough. Examine cells. The cells are unfurnished. There aren't even cots for prisoners to rest on. Those holes in the walls probably had shackles screwed into them at some point. Let's look at the puddles. A film of dust covers the greasy puddles. Let's go further west to the end of the hallway. Spiderwebs fill the corners of this narrow corridor. There seems to be nowhere to go except east. It's hard not to notice some disturbed dust near the south wall, though. Examine the spiderwebs. There are webs all over the place, but no spiders, that you can see anyway. A very small fly is stuck in one of the webs. Examine the fly. The fly is just barely moving. It doesn't look like it's trying to escape. It looks like it's just bored. Let's go ahead and talk to that fly. Are you all right? You ask the fly after transforming. Oh, yes. Don't worry about me. Really? Really, says the fly. I'm fine. Fair enough. Transform again. And let's examine the prints. No. The dust. There are footprints in the dust next to the south wall. If we examine the south wall is entirely unassuming, except there are footprints in the dust right below it. People have been standing in front of that wall. If I try to stand in front of the south wall, I only understood you as far as wanted to stand. We push the south wall, it's fixed in place. Search south wall, nothing of interest. So I feel like there is a secret passage here of some type, and yet every time I play this game, I kind of beat my head against this part because I can't remember if there's something I'm supposed to do or if I just need to ignore this, that I don't need to figure this out. Can I just touch the south wall? It feels normal. First opening the south wall, it isn't something you can open. Okay, yeah, no idea. Let's go ahead and go back to the east and north and examine the fire to get back to Montana. And now we continue to the east, to the pool of lava. And let's examine the bush now, to take us finally to Pilcrow, Arizona, 1922. The church. The floor is covered in yellow dust, and a few sets of footprints meander between the pews. Let's examine this dust now. The dust is thickest near the open doorway to the south. I want to examine the Bible. The book is open to Exodus. Here is the end of chapter 2, where Zipporah names her son Gershom. Here is the beginning of chapter 3, where the Lord promises to deliver the Hebrews. We search the Bible, find nothing of interest. Close the Bible, open it, read it, same spot. Okay. Look again, examine the pews. Modest pews for a modest church. Let's go out to Hazel Street. A row of anonymous buildings follows the train tracks to the edge of town. At the end of the street, just north of where you're standing, is Pilcrow's only church. The train station is further east. A brown bottle lies on its side in the road. Let's take the bottle. Examine it. It's a bottle of whiskey. Gwyngamwir rye whiskey, according to the label. There's about a pint of liquid left in the bottle. Fair enough. Let's go examine the buildings. There's no signage on any of these buildings, no indication that any business was ever conducted out here. Examine the tracks. The rails are rusty in places, bent out of shape in others. Let's go east to the train station. The station consists of a single platform with a single bench. The tracks go east and west across the dusty plain, and the town's main drag seems to be north from here. Someone set up a tent and a cook fire next to the platform. The cook fire should take us back to Penzance, but let's examine the tent. The tent is little more than a scrap of canvas, propped up to protect a tiny patch of ground from the elements. A bedroll is laid out underneath. Examine the bedroll. The bedroll is tattered, chewed up, singed in places. Has it been abandoned here? Can we lie on the bedroll? It's important to take breaks, but this bedroll is filthy. So, we finally come across some kind of a cushioned resting spot that Ebenezabeth will not use in this game. Fair enough. Let's go north to the rest of town, to Cotton Street. At the center of town stands a blackened bronze statue covered in yellow vines. The visitor can explore to the east or south. In all other directions are wooden buildings, dirty and abandoned. Lying in the dust at your feet is half of a guitar. We examine the guitar. The body of the instrument is mostly here. Someone has run off with the neck and strings. The result is a miniature shelter. with a sound hole in the roof. Can we look in the guitar? You stoop to look inside the guitar and discover it is occupied. A scorpion lives in here. Examine the scorpion. It's such a tiny creature, but your body understands how deadly it is before your brain has a chance to think about it. We transform. We talk to the scorpion. Oh, look, a little mouse, says the scorpion. And what a lovely color. Thank you, you say, from a safe distance. We'll transform back. And let's examine the statue. The vines cover every detail. All you know is that it's a statue of a person. We can explore to the east, to the south. Let's examine these buildings once more. Here there was a blacksmith, a bank, a post office, a jailhouse, a stationer, a saloon. The buildings are crowded together, almost built on top of each other. Surprising with this being in the great open west. Let's go east to the graveyard. A rusty barbed wire surrounds this sparsely populated cemetery, with exits to the south and west. There are only a few dozen grave markers here, most of them without names. Near the center is a large tombstone with a detailed inscription. A spindly dead tree stands just outside the fence, providing no shade or shelter. Examine the dead tree. Oh, I should make a note of the scorpion. I forgot about that. Let me do that briefly. This is Pilcrow Scorpion by statue. Okay. Examine the dead tree. The tree has stood here for years since it died, shriveling and shrinking without ever going away. Let's examine the grave markers. The wooden crosses may have borne names at some point, but the letters have been scrubbed away by sun and wind. Let's examine the large tombstone. The inscription reads, Loretta Fox, born 1866, the lady sharpshooter, stabbed in the back by a jealous assassin in Pilcrow, Arizona, October 3rd, 1902, inventor of the original flaming bullet technique taken from us too soon. Loretta's ghost is leaning dramatically against the stone. We examine the ghost. I only understood you as far as wanting to examine Loretta Fox. Let's examine Loretta. The woman is insubstantial, her long dark hair melting into mist. She looks up at you with pleading eyes. We talk to Loretta. Loretta reaches toward you weakly. Thirsty, she rasps, in a voice that seems to come from far across the desert. You extend the bottle to Loretta, but she shakes her head. She motions toward the grave. Pour whiskey on grave. You pour out the bottle, and the earth sucks up the slick brown liquid in an instant. Loretta's ghost jumps to her feet, suddenly full of life, so to speak. Thanks very much, little girl, she says. I hadn't had a drink in... She shakes her head. Well, I'm feeling better now, that's for sure. We talk to Loretta. We talk to Loretta. Loretta notices the gun at your hip. Nice pistol, she says. Could I try it out? You hand it over, and she tests its weight in her faint, smoky hands. Then she looks down at you, smiling as if recognizing an old friend. You and me have something in common, I think. Can you do this? She points the revolver at the horizon. She takes a deep breath and pulls the trigger. A gout of flame erupts from the muzzle, flying like a meteor across the desert. I used to be able to, you tell her, but it took a lot out of me. Loretta shakes her head. Then you're doing it wrong, darlin'. You're trying too hard. Clear your mind. Focus. It'll come easy if you let it. She hands you your gun back. Focus. You close your eyes. You try to feel your willpower. You try to concentrate it into the cylinder of your revolver. One chamber glows red hot. You can feel it in your fingers. You can feel it in your mind. You open your eyes. Loretta smiles. Exactly. Exactly. Let's try shooting the tree now. You fire at the tree. Fire flies out of your revolver and into the brittle wood. All at once, it's consumed in flames. In a red-hot flash, the tree disappears. In the same moment, the heat in your revolver dissipates. Yeah, you've got it, Loretta tells you. So, this was basically one of the abilities that Ebenezabeth used to be able to use in The Little Match Girl 3. She had fire magic as well as the ability to unload all of the bullets in her revolver in a single shot, which took a lot of HP to use that ability. So I could definitely see that not really being something we could use on command anymore. But now we have something very similar, despite this no longer being a combat-centric role-playing game. So that's cool that we get to do that again. Let's talk to Loretta again. Are you waiting for something? You ask. She takes a while to answer. I gotta make a decision, she says at last. She closes her eyes. Let's try showing the sketch to Loretta. The charcoal sketch is of no concern to her, so clearly not. Okay, well, can we reload? Nope, don't need to reload anymore. Cool. Okay. There are exits to the south and to the west. Let's go south then, to Canyon, west side. The tracks go west and east, west over solid ground, and east across an incredibly rickety railway bridge over a deep and steep-sided canyon. A rough trail leads north. A roadrunner is trotting back and forth along the canyon's edge. Let's make note that there is a roadrunner. At Canyon west side. My cat is once again lying on my mouse pad, so she's making things real easy. Let's move that mouse. Okay. Examine Roadrunner. A humble brown bird with long, dark tail feathers. It can't seem to stay in one place. We transform and talk to the Roadrunner. Hey, you say. Hey, says the Roadrunner, without stopping to look at you. Good talk. Transform again. So we are once again back to human shape. Let's examine the bridge. The bridge, apparently constructed on a very limited budget, is now in a state of distressing disrepair. Another piece of it is falling off before your eyes. The bolt or screw or whatever it is drops slowly into the depths of the canyon. Now it is too tiny to see. When it hits the bottom, you don't hear anything. This is to the east. Yeah, east across the railway bridge over a deep and steep-sided canyon. Rough trail leads north. Let's examine the tracks. Yeah, still rusty and bent. Let's go west first. West takes us back to the train station. So if we try to go east as a human, you can't bring yourself to try walking across the bridge. You can already tell from a safe distance that it wouldn't support the weight of a human, even a little girl. So we transform once more, and now we go east. You scamper across the tracks to the other side of the canyon. The bridge barely seems to notice. Canyon, east side. The tracks from the east come to the edge of a huge gorge and continue west over a dilapidated spider-like bridge. On the north side of the tracks, a narrow path leads down into the canyon. We transform again. Okay, we can go east from here. I don't know why I'm wandering around. Let's keep exploring here first. Examine the canyon. The canyon twists wildly through the yellow rock. The train company did not pick the narrowest point to build a bridge over. At the very bottom is a river, squirming like a little black snake. Can we go north from here? Yes, north to the bottom of the canyon. The Courchette River? Corchette? Corchety? Corquette? I don't know. The Courgette River ripples past quietly, lending this place a slightly less dusty atmosphere. A long, thin crack runs up the eastern wall of the canyon. The way up to the train tracks is south. We examine that crack. The crack appears natural. There may be some kind of cavity on the other side, a space that eons of erosion haven't quite revealed. But there's a chance you could shoot it open. We shoot the crack. You fire a bullet at the rock wall. Nothing happens. But you can almost see the lines of stress running through the stone. If you could just hit the right spot, it would shatter, right? Okay, I think I need to come back to try this with something I'm going to get later. So let's go back to the south and then continue east to the assay office. Railroad tracks run east and west past the dusty skeleton of a low brick building. A faint path leads south through the scrubland. Let's examine the building. Two of the walls have fallen away. The roof is not in evidence. What little remains inside has been reduced to rubble. Search the rubble. You pull some debris to one side and turn up a tarnished silver ring. Examine the ring. Yellow-brown tarnish covers the metal, but you can recognize it easily as silver. We wear it. You take the silver ring. You put on the silver ring. Let's go south to Adit. In the hill to the west is the entrance to a mine. In the ground, you can see the suggestion of a track or path exiting the mine, turning north and continuing some distance across the landscape. A leather journal lies at your feet, covered in yellow dust. And if there's something I have been saying over and over through these games, it's that I love it when we get journals in Little Match Girl games. They are uniformly awesome. This one is very exciting to find. Let's check it out. Take journal. You take the leather journal, open it, examine it. The first page of the journal reads, "This is the diary of Michael McKeever, a future millionaire. I am not an educated man. I have never been accused of expertise in any field. Some would go so far as to say that I am not even clever. In place of any intellectual virtues, I have the gift of intuition. I have been called lucky. That is not putting the right shade on it. A lucky man reaches his hand out from his window to feel for rain, and a goose passing overhead lays a golden egg that lands in his palm. An intuitive man will reach out of the same window, based on the unjustifiable expectation that he will catch a golden egg. My intuition tells me that the Pilcrow silver mine is not as dried up as the experts say. I will go there myself and find the silver that they missed. It will be a sight harder than simply reaching out of a window, but that's the sort of thing that doesn't happen twice." There is more on the next page. We read the next page. You go on reading. "I have arrived in Pilcrow. This has been a bit of unpleasantness here. There has been a bit of unpleasantness here recently, having to do with the murder of a local celebrity. The tragedy is a boon to my personal dealings, as I am able to sniff around the silver mine without arousing attention. I bought a book that describes the principles and methods of mining, and I paged through it on the train. The people back home who called my plans idiotic will have to invent a new criticism, because now I do know the first thing about silver mining. I have made my camp in the vicinity of the assay office, lately in disuse. I will avail myself of whatever assay equipment remains. My book will tell me what it all is and how it all works." There is more on the next page. We read the next page. "In the mine there is a huge pit, which my book calls a shaft. I have climbed into a bucket of sorts and lowered myself into the pit by some distance, as far as the light from above would reach. My intuition tells me that what I seek is very deep in the ground, deeper than the brave silver miners were willing to dig. I must be braver than those men, and I must dig deeper than they dug. I will need some of the things described in the book, torches and pickaxes and dynamite and such. It would be easier to procure these things if I could have a little bit of the silver first." There is more on the next page. You go on reading. "I have gone down deeper into the pit. My light failed me. For some time I was enveloped in absolute darkness. My sight was useless to me, and by degrees all my other senses abandoned me, so that I could not hear or smell anything nearby. I could not feel my surroundings nor apprehend my own position. In those moments, one might say I did not exist, or I existed only as a mind and its thoughts. The illusion passed, and I carried myself back to the surface. I am enjoying no success as a miner up to the present moment. Perhaps in this case the virtue of intuition must be propped up with some degree of hard work or patience. There is more on the next page. You go on reading. Another journey into the earth, another episode of total darkness. I allowed the wraith-like state to prolong itself about me. I surrendered my identity to the void and became at one with nothingness. In that nameless abysm, I perceived something, everything, the totality of space and time in all its dimensions and potentialities. I neither saw nor felt, but knew all there is to know. Mercifully, my senses returned to me, and the greater part of my infinite knowledge was forgotten. I believe strongly that I do not want to return to the pit. On the other hand, I know that I will. There is more on the next page. You go on reading. My intuition did bring me here, to this dying town, to this bottomless mine. It did not intend for me to find a fortune in silver. It knew, I knew, and now I know again, that I would find something more valuable here. When you discover this journal, Ebenezabeth, it will be 1922. You have found a silver ring in the assay office, which in your time is a crumbled ruin. The ring is not a necessity in your current quest to assemble the crown of pearls. Neither is the black pit of the silver mine. You have found your own way in the universe, a gift that is perhaps less a burden than my own. You and I will not see each other face to face for some time. When we do, we will require each other's help in defeating the Zeos Maleficus, which will visit our reality in a form too terrible to describe here. I will leave this notebook in a place where rain will never mar its pages, where passers-by will never interrupt its waiting. Until you find this, Ebenezabeth, and until we meet, Ebenezabeth, I remain Michael McKeever, the Omniscient. This is the end of the journal. It is also the end of today's playthrough, and we will resume next week. I will save my game. McKeever. We save and reconvene in a week. Thank you for watching.